Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some consequences for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This one was gathered by me. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. The original OP is Lego My Ego 75389263. OP has since deleted their account. Originally posted January 16th, 2021. Am I the asshole for suing my ex and her boyfriend? My ex and I divorced 3 years ago. She was cheating, but at this point I don't care about the relationship anymore. The pending lawsuit has nothing to do with her or him, but rather their actions. My ex and I have a son, 13 male, that we split time with 50-50. He's a great kid that interests have changed a lot, to be honest, as I imagine more kids and teenagers tend to do through the years. One thing my son was heavily into at some point was Legos. He used to play with them all the time, and personally, I think they're a great toy for different reasons. I used to love playing with them, and to this day, I still collect boxes that I leave unopened as a collection. Well, my ex and I divorced. She got with someone who loved Legos more, I guess. From what I know, he loves making creations and building the sets in. I don't care. Seems cool. He does one thing I think is very, very weird. He uses crazy glue so the sets can't break or pieces can't be lost. It seems so weird to me. The issue is, I was out of town for all of 3 days last week for medical reasons, and my son wanted to get his PS4 so he could play it at his mom's. This isn't out of the ordinary at all, and he has a key, so he let me know he would be stopping over for a bit. I told him to have fun when I saw him on the entry camera. My wife's husband was with him, which was a no-no. I told him via speaker to not go in and to wait on the porch. He flinched, but walked in anyway. I sent my ex a text telling her to call him and tell him he's 1 minute away from a cop call. He left my home with a bag in hand, which I didn't think much of because my son had his games too. Well, my son texted me later that evening and said he didn't know it at the time, but he's pretty sure stepdad took some of my sets. These are all old sets, and 2 are worth big money. When I got home, I confirmed the missing sets and called my ex. She had no idea, but he admitted he took them. But it was so son could have the sets to complete his collection. My son doesn't even like Legos anymore and told his mom he wouldn't steal from me. My wife asked how much it would cost to replace them, and unfortunately, it's more than their savings. Actually, it would take their house down payment plus more. I told them if they didn't pay in 2 weeks, I was suing and pressing charges. The price in the sets makes it a felony. My ex and her husband are saving for a house, which would give my son more space when he's there. But those sets were going to help pay for his education someday or a home of his own. I filed the police report and have talked to a lawyer, and we're moving forward with the suit. Everyone is calling me a joke because they're just toys, but I don't get it. They're worth real money. I'm not rich, guys. I needed those to help with my son's future. But again, taking this money does deny my son things at his mom's house. Am I the asshole here? Edit, I've been asked to add these facts. The sets have been opened, which more than half their worth, and 1 was glued together. The damage was done already. The stolen items are King's Castle, Milk Truck, Legoland Train, Carousel, and the glued one was a Star Wars snowspeeder. The Legoland Train alone can go upwards to $4,000 because I believe only 80 of them were made. Some of these are one piece of a larger set, so if you lose 1 of 5, you lose the value of 1 produced plus the value of the set as a whole. Second edit, ex-wife and boyfriend are the same as ex-boyfriend, I'm just a bad writer. Third and final edit for this post. I know I haven't been here much, but I have read many of your comments and taken them to heart. I know my spelling is poor, guys, and I apologize for the format. Calling me names in my private messages was not called for, and I'm not a scalper. I enjoy buying these sets and do not intend to sell all of them. But I want my son to go to college and not worry about debt, so I want to sell the ones that I can to help. I never had the smarts for higher education, but my son is not me, and I love him, and want him to do better. Around 4 p.m., I called the local state police and met at their facility. I gave them all I had and gave my statement. My son is with me starting tonight, so when I picked him up, I sent him into the GameStop and called his mom. I told her I had filed charges and asked the cop to call me when everything was done, so I could give him the opportunity to turn himself in. I wanted to be better than he treated me. I'll save her reaction for a real update, by the way. Can someone please tell me how to update, because I don't really understand the steps in the main notes? I told my son when we got home what I did and why. My son said that I did the right thing because he didn't want his stepdad to think it was okay to do it again. And if he didn't go to jail, he'd rather be here, away from him, so it isn't weird. Also, by the way, scalping is very different than collecting. A collector is someone who purchases a set, has it in their collection for a long time, then oftentimes will sell it when the set's more valuable as it's appreciated in value. A scalper is someone who mass purchases items in bulk, then sells it above the original retail price, specifically trying to monetize the desperation and the pull of the item itself. Buying a Lego set, keeping it in its box, and selling it 20 years later is not the same as buying 100 GPUs and selling them all $2,000 to $3,000 above MSRP. By the way, looking at some of those sets, a lot of them are actually closer to being $5,000 if they were still in their box in their original condition. So, yeah, this would definitely be felony theft. Update. Removed. Only screenshots were able to be recovered from a Facebook group once upon a time. The update date is unknown, as it was removed after posted. I apologize, I'm not the best at Reddit, and I guess the moderators at Am I the Asshole deleted my update. If you have any follow-up questions, I'll try my best to answer you, though it could take some time. I received a few requests regarding posting an update, and I did promise to update the situation once it was resolved, and as far as I have any say, the headache is over, for the most part. I can't say that I feel whole, but I'm not angry about it, as I think the consequences are something to respect. I read through most of the comments, and really appreciate the time most of you took out of your day to offer advice and well wishes. I know I didn't respond to all of them, but your time and care were noted. I accept all your judgments, but I must say your kindness blew me away, while some took time out of their day just to be mean, which is on you, I guess. I understand Legos are toys, but I enjoy the hunt, and it's worth it to me. As I said, I decided to go to the police with the video, my statement, texts from my ex, and emails. I told the police I wanted this pursued as he had entered my house after being told not to and stole valuables. They took everything I had to offer, and as of yesterday, my ex's boyfriend was arrested for a few different violations/laws. He was charged with grand larceny and breaking and entering, among a few other charges. My ex is really upset at me, and him. However, she bailed him out, so I'm guessing she isn't too upset with him. Ex's boyfriend has called a few times and showed up once. He left the used sets on my porch, and I'm not sure what he thinks that does at this stage. They aren't worthless, but their value is less than half. I told my lawyer he did this, and she was blown away. I sent an email to my ex telling her and him to stay away from me in my home, and I only wanted to hear from her if it was concerning our child. This was his first offense to my knowledge, so I don't expect him to do jail time. However, my lawyer said it was possible due to the amount of crimes and when/how they took place. Apparently doing that during the day is worse, and he did it in front of my child, which doesn't help him. I expect a lengthy probation, to be honest, with all of you, but I'm very far from a legal expert. I spoke to the lawyer on Tuesday this week regarding the loss, and unfortunately I'm looking at a tough road ahead of me. The pieces stolen are valued at what they sell at auction, which the local DA will decide which auctions are reputable. So, that could go different ways. Moreover, the fact the boyfriend broke up my sets was irrelevant. The lawyer said it would be like stealing one baseball card out of an entire set and burning it. You are only owed the value of that one card, even if you can't get that one card again. The fact he returned them is an admission of guilt, she said, and that we could definitely reclaim the amount of money an unopened set for each would be worth. But it doesn't make the matter better, in my opinion. I know a lot of you thought 10 to 20K wasn't nearly enough for a house down payment, but in my neck of the woods, it's plenty, and my lawyer recommended we go forward with a civil suit, and I agreed. With that, and the legal charges, I feel that is well enough. I will have enough in savings and Lego stock, lol, to fund his 4 years at a good state school. I wish I could do more, but you can't win them all. My son has been staying with me full time, as he feels it's awkward at his mom's, and he's pretty upset at his mom about the whole thing. But I'm trying to smooth that over best I can, considering the circumstances. He's asked to stay here full time, which I support, and told his mom as much. I told her we could do it through the courts or keep it simple, and I think she wants to keep it simple. I haven't thought much about child support, but I don't think asking for a small amount would be bad. I don't want to break my ex, but our kids should come first. Thank you to everyone for their well wishes and thoughts. Best of luck to everyone out there. Again, if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. Yes, I did find this story and then immediately decided to cover it because of how topical it is. Because it's very. If you've somehow managed to escape the current Lego scandal going on, congratulations. It's crazy that this is how some people are actually finally learning that Legos are actually a really highly sought after collector's item, that some sets can go for thousands of dollars a pop. Even if the stepdad gets off scot-free, and even if OP is now no longer able to get the full collection price of the sets, there's still the fact that actions of him hesitating at the camera, then walking in and jacking the sets, just cost his girlfriend, OP's ex-wife, her entire relationship with her son. I just really wanted the Legos, you don't understand. Don't be mad at me. My dad actually used to make me glue my Lego sets together. But that might just be because he comes from the 70s, where when you would have model kits, you would glue them together, and he probably just kind of felt that Legos were model kits. So yeah, of course you would glue them together, that's just what makes sense. But this, just stealing someone else's Lego sets is already bad enough, but then opening them, not putting all of them together, and then on top of that, gluing them together? Dude, what is wrong with you? Also, by the way, if you are ever wanting to glue your Legos together, there are actual stuff that is made to glue Legos together that's water soluble. So you put it together with the, Lego glue, then you just dunk it in water when you're done and you want to disassemble it, so that way you're not actually destroying the Lego bricks, but they stay together and don't fall apart, and you also don't risk ending up in one of those compilations of Lego sets being dropped and turning into 5 million pieces on the floor. And for someone who is into Legos like the ex's boyfriend is, how on earth do you go about the idea of, oh, I love Legos so much and he has Legos that I'll never have, so I'll just take him. He won't notice, without realizing the fact that by just grabbing one of those, you enter Grand Theft territory right then and there, let alone breaking and entering. What a fucking idiot. Cross-posted UhOhConsequences by Little Soda Pop 13, originally posted to r/best of, by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, I'm keeping the garlic. The original OP is DreamUse210, posted to r/amItheAsshole, January 22nd, 2024. Am I the asshole for insisting that my in-laws buy my daughter a new doll? This past Christmas, my mother got my daughter, Amy, for female, a doll she'd been asking for. It's a baby version of Mirabelle from the Disney movie Encanto. It's quickly become her favorite. My husband's cousin, Nat, has a daughter I'll call Julie, 6 female. I wouldn't classify her as spoiled, but she does have a tendency of disobeying other people. There have been numerous occasions in which I asked Julie to do something. Please sit down. Please don't touch that, etc. And she either ignored me or went behind my back to do the opposite. While I understand that she's a child, Nat rarely makes any attempt to educate her daughter or correct her behavior. Last week, Nat and Julie came to visit us with some other relatives. Julie saw the Mirabelle doll and asked my daughter if she could play with her. Amy refused. Julie protested, but I spoke with the girls and managed to get them to play with other toys. Sometime later, the kids sat down to watch TV while me and the others got dinner ready. When we went back to the living room, Julie was gone. After a short search, we found her in my bathroom. She had taken not only the Mirabelle doll, but also my nail polish carrying case. Julie had used my nail polish to paint the doll's hair, face, and dress. It covered most of her facial painting, matted her hair, and ruined her clothes. Amy saw what happened and was devastated. When we asked Julie what she was doing, She said she was giving the doll a makeover. Nat and Julie left in a hurry. The next day I asked Nat what she planned to do about it. She suggested that the girls apologize to each other, Julie for painting the doll, and Amy for not sharing it in the first place, and hug it out, and offered to give me a couple new bottles of nail polish. I made it clear that Amy didn't need to apologize, and while I didn't care about the nail polish, they cost like $4, and Julie didn't empty the bottle she used, I did expect Nat and her husband to replace the doll. Nat refused. She said that it wouldn't be fair for her to waste money over an innocent mistake a child made. She also doesn't think Julie should be the only one apologizing, as none of this would have happened if Amy had agreed to share in the first place. I asked her twice. She said no both times. Finally, I called her husband and explained the situation. He apologized profusely and agreed to buy Amy a new doll. He stopped by on Saturday and gave it to us. He also brought Julie along and made her apologize to Amy. Apparently, Nat and her husband fought over this, as she kept insisting that Julie was just a child and they owed us nothing. So now, in addition to saying it was entitled of me to expect a new doll, she's blaming me for their fight. My husband is on my side, but my mother-in-law thinks I should apologize, as this has blown out of proportion and I could have dealt with it more gracefully. She also thinks it was wrong of Amy to refuse to share. Am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Did Julie do it out of spite? I do think this was more of a not knowing how nail polish works situation than her trying to ruin the doll out of spite. Julie has been interested in makeovers for a while. She also asked us if we couldn't wash it off. On Amy sharing. Amy usually shares everything. Earlier this month, my older son accidentally broke one of his toys, and Amy got very protective of her own. She had a play date with another cousin weeks ago and refused to share any toy at all. We've been trying to teach her to share again while still being careful, but I told her it was okay for Mirabelle and some other favorites to remain off limits. Why do you still hang out with them? Mostly because they're not always shit people. Nat's husband has a daughter from a previous relationship who's good friends with my older son, and Amy and Julie get along well most of the time. Nat's also not a bad person unless it comes to Julie. Was Julie punished? Nat's husband mentioned he grounded Julie. He took her tablet for a few days. OP is voted not the asshole. Update post, January 31st, 2024, 1 week later. I wasn't going to write an update, but I thought I'd let you know that I read your comments and decided to follow your advice. I still don't think Julie's actions were completely intentional. The nail polish she used, too, is the kind that peels off. So I do believe she genuinely thought we could wash the doll later. Even if that's not the case, I wouldn't villainize a 6-year-old. Yes, I know children can be cruel, and I'm not saying Julie's too young to understand she was doing something wrong. I just don't think the reasons behind her actions were as vindictive as people are making them out to be. If I had to blame anyone, it would be Nat, especially because not only did she protest against Julie apologizing to Amy, but she also never apologized herself. All that said, there are 2 pieces of advice from the comments on my previous post that I decided to follow. The first is that Nat and Julie are no longer welcome at our house. We're not cutting ties with them, as we usually all get along well. Also, we're immigrants and they're some of the only relatives we have in this country, and that's not something we want to sacrifice right now. So, from now on, we're only meeting them at their house. Public spaces and events we're not hosting. That might change in the future, either when Julie gets older or if we ever see a change in their behavior. My son's 9th birthday party is coming up, and we made it clear Nat and Julie aren't welcome. We did invite Nat's stepdaughter, her husband's child from a previous relationship, since she's friends with my son. Nat's not happy about this, but we do not care. The second piece of advice I'm following, during the weekend, my husband and I bought a big wooden box, which we'll leave in our closet. Whenever we have guests over, our kids can fill it with whatever toys they don't want to share. We all painted and decorated the box with stickers and ribbons on Sunday. As for the painted doll, Amy has seen Toy Story a few times. She didn't want to throw her original Mirabelle away or give her to someone else. We gave the doll a bath, and though we couldn't get the nail polish off, Amy decided to keep her. So now, she has 2 dolls. Mirabelle, given to her by Nat's husband, and Crazy Belle, her older twin sister. Tea parties have been, interesting lately. I think that's all. Amy's happy, and my family is doing great. Thanks, everybody. Relevant comments. What about mother-in-law? Mother-in-law still lives in our home country and was visiting us when this happened. She's already left, and we probably won't see her until July. Can you try alcohol to get rid of the nail polish? It would be too risky. One of the eyes and half of her lips are almost completely covered by the nail polish, and Amy has the new doll now, so there's no reason to try to make that work right now. If you ever wanted to, you could check with someone who professionally restores dolls. Crazy Belle is part of the family. I wouldn't dream of changing her. If Amy ever wants to, I'll do my research and see what I can do. Knowing my kid, though, Crazy Belle will stay crazy. As for sweet Amy, that's Amy for ya. The part in Toy Story 3 that made her cry the most was the evil bear's backstory. She didn't want Crazy Belle to feel like she was being replaced. Not super drastic consequences, but still consequences nonetheless. You wouldn't apologize for the actions of your daughter, despite the fact that she did in fact destroy her cousin's doll. And now you don't get a visit anymore with her. But your husband and his daughter can, but not you and your daughter. You're not allowed because you suck. And you refuse to actually be a parent to your child. Yes, she's 6 years old. But she's also 6 years old. She still is very much capable of comprehending and learning that her actions have consequences. You're just setting her up to either be a bully or to just be extremely spoiled in her near future. Thank God the dad seems to be putting his foot down and actually trying to parent though, so maybe not. This actually reminds me of when I was 4 years old and one of my mom's friends had a daughter, and she was very bossy, alright? Now as 4-year-olds go, yeah, that's to be expected. Now, I had a sticky lizard. It was one of those lizards where you could throw it against the wall and it would stick, and then it would slowly peel off and stick back to the wall and kind of like climb down it. One of my favorite things as a 4-year-old. I loved throwing it at Mach 3 towards the wall. But she liked it too. And she didn't like the fact that I wouldn't let her have it. So she was like, okay, we'll both have it. Grabbed the pair of scissors, cut it in half, and handed me the lower part of the torso. And of course I cried. I never got a replacement for my sticky lizard. Very sad about that. And honestly, I have no idea if she even got punished for that. Cause like that was 22 years ago at this point in time, and I just remembered my blue lizard and was probably never replaced because it was a gimmick toy. No idea what happened. I know my mom ended up falling out with her mom. Her dad was cool though. Her dad and my mom were actually really close. I'm not gonna unpack that. But as for the story, you can't be shocked when your child breaks something and you refuse to actually, correct them or parent them. And in fact, you kind of stand by their decision to be a destructive little ghoul. And, well, congratulations. If you're going to foster a ghoul child, you're gonna be treated like you're the mother of a ghoul child. And, not be allowed at family social events anymore. This could have been an amazing learning experience of 1, you don't take things that aren't yours. 2, you don't just mix random chemicals together and apply it to a surface of a doll. That's dangerous, and she could have gotten hurt. 3, by mixing and playing with random chemicals that she didn't know, she actually ended up destroying the doll and teaching that, would you like it if Amy did that to one of your toys? This could have been a good learning and teaching experience, and potentially added some science in there as to what acetone can do. But no. Actually, maybe teaching a small child the power of acetone may not be a good idea, because they might abuse that very quickly. I want my children to be well-versed in the sciences, but I also don't want to accidentally make one of them mad because I took away their video games and wake up to find my Warhammer collection dunked in acetone. So... shit. Posted to UhOhConsequences by Miss Skinny Jean. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. I, 23 female, threw water on my 24 male boyfriend while he was sleeping almost 2 months ago, and he's afraid to fall asleep around me. How do I help him trust me again? I made this account because somebody told me I should, and I don't know how to deal with this any longer. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 5.5 years, and been living together for 1 year. 7 months ago, he went to Japan with 3 of his friends, and while there, one of his friends was being a huge jerk. He would act exactly how you're not supposed to act, and the final straw was him getting too drunk at a restaurant and being belligerent. That resulted in them getting kicked out. As payback, when he fell asleep, they filled a bucket with water and dumped it on him. He behaved correctly after they did it, and he told it to me as a funny story. Lately, he's been really inconsiderate. Even though we live together, we don't see each other a lot, and we've been lacking on dates and hanging out as a couple. I work early in the morning, and he works in the afternoon. Not every day, his schedule changes, but gets home when I'm already going to sleep. I've been trying to get a day where me and him can hang out in the afternoon when I get out of work, but he always already has other plans, and I usually spend my afternoons alone in the apartment. Most of my own friends live far away now, and my best friend just had a baby, so I don't see her often. He's also been leaving his dirty laundry and leaving dishes in the sink when he leaves for work, cause he goes to the gym a lot and meal preps, but he always had the excuse that he loses track of time. I hate leaving dishes in the sink and laundry laying about, so I always do it. I tried talking to him about it, but it literally was like one ear and out the other. And it was like I had to get his attention 2 weeks in advance before he decided to go out with his friends. One time in particular, he didn't have work and I was excited to see him, but as soon as I got home, he was laying in our bed and not doing anything. And when I cuddled him, he got up and said he has to go to the gym, and he went and was there for 4 hours. All of his friends go to the gym and they goof off there. I cried for hours. My final straw was last month because I texted him asking if he worked that day, and he had an unexpected day off. I had the next day off and wanted to do something so we can sleep in together for once. He was at the gym when I texted him, and I said we should go to my favorite local restaurant and hang out. And he said he was with his friends, and he would as long as they didn't want to go anywhere. I said that I had asked him first, and he didn't respond to that. Later, when I had 30 minutes left, he said they wanted to go to Korean barbecue, so he was going with them instead. I broke down sobbing, and my coworker was worried about me. I went home on a walk in our neighborhood and cried. When he got home, he brought me a matcha, but I didn't want it. I tried to bring it up with him and started shouting a bit, but he said we'd talk about it tomorrow because he was tired and only said, "I love you, we can plan something next week." I got really mad at him, and my sadness became such an intense rage. I told him I was going on a walk, and I walked to a bar 3 blocks down and drank. While alone, I had a lot of time to think about all of my frustrations. When I came home, I wasn't sloshed, but I was drunk. I don't know what came over me, but I filled our mop bucket with water, and I fucking threw it on him. It was so much that it damaged our floor, and I even dropped the bucket on him. I've never seen him look so horrified before. When he woke up, he was choking on the water and it went completely up his nose. He almost had a panic attack because he thought he was drowning, he doesn't know how to swim, and he couldn't believe I had just done that to him. I started shouting at him that he deserved it for how he treated me, and that I wished he would find the girl he actually wanted because clearly he had no interest in me. I even accused him of seeing another girl. He didn't sleep the entire night, and I ended up sleeping on our pull-out couch. The next morning, I woke up hungover, but I felt satisfied. I helped him clean up the mess, and we came up with what to tell maintenance. While doing this, I told him everything I felt, and he didn't say anything, just silently listened. The night after, he said he was going to stay with his parents for a bit, and he packed some stuff and left. I called him over and over, hysterical, and begging him not to leave me, and that I was sorry, and I only wanted his attention, but he said he understood. He stayed at his parents' for 2 weeks, then came back, but he told me straight up that the only way he was comfortable staying in the apartment was if I slept on the pull-out couch and he slept alone in our bedroom with the door locked. I was devastated, but I agreed. It's now been almost 2 months, and this is our arrangement. He has been washing the dishes and doing the laundry more. He's been running a lot of my errands and telling me how much he loves me and making me coffee every day. He makes more of an effort to spend more time with me now. The other week, he surprised me with tickets to see the Backrooms movie, and I had a blast. He even surprised me with Chipotle at my job while he was passing by. At home, he's so sweet and loving, and it's like I'm finally getting what I wanted. But he still refuses to sleep in the same room as me. The other night, we were cuddling in bed, watching TV, and I accidentally fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, he wasn't in bed, and I found him asleep on the couch. When I woke him up, he flinched super hard at the sight of me. That broke my heart. I asked him if he was afraid of me, and he said the truth was, he's been having reoccurring nightmares of that night. No matter how tired he is, he cannot trust being asleep anywhere. I have access to him, and sometimes he wakes up scared because he has dreams where I'm about to do it again. I just cried and apologized over and over. I promised him I would never do it again. He didn't say anything. That same day, he made sure that he slept alone, and I did too. He did understand everything he did wrong, and he feels horrible for neglecting me so bad, but he can't trust me when he's sleeping anymore. Right now, I'm writing this from the pull-out couch, and my heart hurts so much for my predicament. Is there any way I can help him trust me again? How can I support him and show that I'm truly remorseful for what I did? I don't know what to do. Edit. This is a copy and pasted from a comment I made that got buried. I didn't expect this to get so many comments and engagement so quickly. The post hasn't even been up for an hour. I expected this to be downvoted, but alright. To clarify, no, I do not think what I did was okay. Far from it. I know I said in the past I felt satisfied, but that was the day after because it finally felt like I got his attention. But even before he left for his parents, it dawned on me the severity of my actions. To further clarify, it wasn't just that he left a few dishes in the sink or that he wasn't paying enough attention to me. For months, we haven't seen each other often at all. I would only see him when I'd wake up in the morning to leave for work and when I'd go to sleep at night once he got home. He would only hang out or go on dates once or twice a month if I got lucky, and even then, they would have to be made more than a week in advance because he's so fast to go out with somebody else. With the dishes and laundry, he'd leave the dishes in the sink for days if I let him. He would leave an ungodly amount that would take me a while to finish. He'd leave his dirty laundry on the floor or the couch or bathroom. I saw his messes more than I saw him. No, I am not proud of what I did. I cried the entire time typing this post. I understand what I did was irrational, and no amount of neglect made what I did okay. I just wanted advice on how to help him because I hated that it got to this point. If there was a million things I could have done differently, I would, but I can't undo what I did. If he leaves me, then so be it, but I only care about him right now, even if it didn't seem that way. I hate that I did this to him and just want to help. On top of that, I want to acknowledge what I did was physical assault. I had no idea dumping water on somebody could be considered that, and the reason I brought up what happened in Japan is because that was what made me think of it. He talks about his trip to Japan all the time and always tells it as a funny story. I'm not going to force him to do anything or even make him stay with me, but I will be speaking with him about what's going to happen moving forward. I know there's way more to this than just the act itself, and I have a lot more of reflecting and work to do. Edit 2. Okay, to answer the question, no, I did not directly throw the water onto his face. I just blindly threw it onto him from the foot of the bed. The mop bucket is not industrial sized, but it's medium, and I didn't fill it all the way. I know it doesn't matter, it's still horrible. I don't know how to describe how big the bucket they used, but I know he said specifically in the face. Their friend was passed out drunk and was not in on it at all. My boyfriend didn't throw the water onto him, but he held the flashlight. I know it doesn't justify either side, but this is to provide context. Too long didn't read, my boyfriend and his friends threw water on one of their friends to get him to behave in Japan. He's been neglecting me lately and hasn't been spending any time with me, and my final straw was when he blew me off to go be with his friends again. I threw water on him while he was sleeping, and now we don't sleep in the same bed because he doesn't trust me. I'm gonna be real, I don't like anyone in this story. On one hand, we have a boyfriend who just can't be fucking bothered to spend time with his girlfriend at all, and literally can't be fucked to do something extremely simple with her every now and then just to make her feel like she's actually in a relationship and not just like, you know, on the side. Because like I can 100% understand and sympathize with her frustration with that. It just doesn't feel like she's in a relationship at this point because of how little time he's spending with her and how quickly he jumps to go spend time with literally anything else. But also, if you're gonna waterboard someone with a bucket and just dump it on them and it gets in their nose and they struggle to breathe, yeah, that's gonna cause some lasting psychological stuff for them. And it's gonna be hard for them to get over the idea of suddenly waking up and drowning because of your girlfriend's mad at you. Like, that's horrific. But it also doesn't excuse the fact that he participated in that exact action. He just got a taste of exactly what he did to his friend. Like, everyone in this story is a devil here, and everyone deserves the consequences. Like, my biggest recommendation is if you feel like your relationship just isn't what you want it to be, don't throw a bucket of water on them to teach them a lesson. Maybe just consider walking away from that relationship. Like, it might suck, but maybe you guys just aren't compatible. Did you talk to him about this stuff? Like, at all, about how much it's messing with you or upsetting you? Or were you just asking to hang out and he kept saying, like, nah, I'm doing this, and you never brought up the fact that he was never actually taking the time to spend time with you? Like, was there a conversation beforehand, or did you just escalate right to dumping water on him while he's sleeping? In my opinion, you guys should break up. That's just how I think this is. He's not giving you what you want from a relationship, you assaulted him. I think that's just the right thing to do at this point, is just to break up with each other. This is one that I've been keeping an eye on that feels like it belongs here, and it's kind of been getting frequent updates over the past couple days. It was actually going to be in yesterday's episode, but I guess it's in today. This post was collected by Big O Nerd. The original OP is Legal Importance 7999, originally posted to r/offmychest. First posted June 15th, 2026. My best friend is selling the project car we built together to take his girlfriend to Bali. It's registered in his name. I am absolutely losing my mind right now, and I just need to vent before I do something I permanently regret. For the past 8 months, my best friend and I have been building a project car in his garage. It started as a completely stripped, beat-up chassis. I'm the one with the mechanical knowledge, so I did 90% of the actual heavy lifting. Building the engine, sorting the wiring, installing the suspension, everything. On top of that, I funded about 80% of the parts because he was short on cash, but promised we'd split the profit 50-50 when we flipped it, or just keep it as a track toy. Because it was his house and his garage, we registered the chassis in his name just to make the initial towing and paperwork easier. Huge mistake. Huge. The build is finally finished. It looks incredible, sounds insane, and the performance is top tier. Yesterday, he calls me out of nowhere and tells me a buyer offered him a massive cash deal for it, and he accepted. I was hyped at first, thinking about our payout. Then he drops the bomb. He's keeping the entire profit because he wants to take his girlfriend on a luxury vacation to Bali next month. He literally told me, well, it's my garage and my name on the papers, so legally it's my car. I'll give you $500 for your trouble. $500. I spent thousands on the turbo setup, the ECU, and hundreds of hours of manual labor. I literally have grease permanently stained under my fingernails from building his vacation fund. I don't even know what to do. Legally, I know I'm probably screwed because there's no written contract, just text messages. I feel completely betrayed by someone I considered a brother. Comments. Demonian X. If you have receipts and text messages stating the money was to be split, you can take him to small claims court. This doesn't require a lawyer or anything and is usually pretty quick. If he doesn't show up, they rule in your favor. He's a terrible friend, and I hope after this is all said and done, you never speak to him again. Opie responds, thank you so much for explaining that small claims doesn't need a lawyer. That actually makes me feel way less overwhelmed. I definitely have the texts where we talked about splitting the profits 50-50 when we finish the build. I'm going to start organizing all the receipts tonight, and yeah, after this, he is dead to me. Use your grr to everything. I would definitely let him know that you're planning to seek legal action. Before buying his tickets to Bali, you recommend he consults with an attorney because he will owe you a lot more than he realizes. Opie responds, that's a brilliant point about warning him before he drops all that cash on tickets. I'm honestly terrified of the confrontation because he thinks he completely holds all the cards right now, but maybe mentioning a legal consultation will make him sweat a bit. User Unlucky Customer 712 comments, a build like that should be documented with videos, Facebook posts. If you spent money, get the receipts. Sue him. That's real money, and it'll be taken seriously. Opie responds, I actually do have a ton of videos and photos on my phone from when we were doing the engine swap, and I paid for the turbo kit on my card, so the bank statements are there. But can I actually sue someone if the car registration is entirely in their name? I'm just so stressed out, man. I don't even know how small claims court works. User Better World Builder comments, you absolutely can and have a strong case based on the evidence you have, especially if you can ensnare him with some text messages. Hey man, I get you want to take your girl to Bali, but I spent way more than this on the car and rebuild, and we agreed to split it 50-50. Depending on what he says, he can absolutely sewer himself by confirming what you said trying to apologize. Very shitty friend, but at least you'll get your money back. A lot of shitty friendships cost people a lot more, and they get back a lot less. OP responds, this is an incredibly smart move. I actually haven't replied to his last text yet because I was too angry, so I'm going to word my next text exactly like this. If I can get him to text back and explicitly admit that we agreed to 50-50, that gives me actual leverage. Thank you so much. I'm literally typing it out to him now. User Gearhead54 comments, the parts are yours. He never paid for them. Tell him either to give you a fair share, your parts back, or you'll take him to court. Small claims is super easy, just paperwork at the local courthouse. In most states, you don't even need a lawyer, but it might help you if the value is high enough to justify. We had to take our wedding photographer to small claims, and it was magically resolved after she received a summons. OP responds, the thought of taking my parts back definitely crossed my mind, but the car is locked in his garage, and I don't want to catch a breaking and entering charge on top of losing my money. Hearing your story about the wedding photographer magically fixing things after a summons gives me a lot of hope though. I'm going to look into the local small claims paperwork first thing in the morning. User Pacemaker1855 comments, small claims, then get a new friend. Also, I draft a bill for your hours. Put into it at a fair and standard rate to include in your claim. OP responds, drafting a bill for my manual labor hours is an incredible idea. If I count up every weekend and late night I spent rebuilding the top end and doing the wiring, even at a basic hourly rate, it easily totals thousands. Adding that to the receipts for the parts should make the claim airtight. Thank you so much for this. Update after one day, June 16th, 2026. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented on my last post, and the people who flooded my chat requests. I've been reading through the messages silently, including some actual legal perspectives, but my inbox is a bit overwhelmed right now, so I couldn't reply to everyone individually. I felt completely broken yesterday, but seeing so many people in my corner giving solid advice gave me the backbone to actually do something about this. A few of you suggested that I shouldn't confront him aggressively, but instead, text him calmly to try to get him to admit to our 50-50 agreement in writing so I'd have evidence for small claims court. Well, it worked. Better than I could have imagined. Last night I sent him a text. I kept my emotions completely out of it and wrote, hey man, I'm trying to stay calm here. I know the registration is in your name, but we spent 8 months building this car together and explicitly agreed to split the profit 50-50. Dropping $500 on me after I built the engine and funded the turbo setup is completely unfair. He took the bait immediately. He called me twice, but I let it go to voicemail because I wanted everything in text. When he realized I wasn't answering, he texted back. Bro, plans change. I need the cash for the Bali trip with Jess. Yeah, we said 50-50 at the start, but legally, it's my car. Be happy I'm even giving you $500. You don't have a contract anyway, so you can't do anything. He literally admitted to the agreement while trying to flex that I couldn't stop him. Once I had that screenshot saved and backed up, I sent my final reply. I have the receipts for every single aftermarket part, bank statements proving I bought them, and now I have your text admitting we agreed to split the profit 50-50. I'm drafting an itemized bill for my labor hours at a standard shop rate. If you don't freeze the sale and give me my fair share, I'm filing a summons for small claims court first thing on Monday. See you there. He hasn't replied since, but his girlfriend just blocked me on Instagram, so I know he's absolutely panicking right now. I'm currently organizing all my receipts and printing out the text thread. I'll keep you guys posted on whether he folds or if we're actually going to court. But for now, the trap is sprung. Comments. Coveting dolphin. Doing everything via text and ignoring calls was a big brain move. Well done. OP responds, thanks. I knew if I picked up the phone, it would just be a shouting match and I'd lose my leverage. Had to get it in writing. __salad __dash. Great to see this update. It'd be heartbreaking enough to see all this hard work just disappear without enjoying the car first. Then to throw in that he'd rather toss a friend away for a vacation? That sucks, man. Good luck with this process and fingers crossed it gets sorted soon. I guess at the least you figured out what kind of person he is sooner. OP responds, thanks. Honestly, that's the part that stings the most. We spent late nights bleeding brakes, tracking down wiring gremlins, and just talking about how insane it would sound when it finally boosted. To watch him toss all of that away just to flex on a vacation is wild to me. But you're right, better to know who he really is now than later. User not unique work account responds to OP. Hey, just make sure you're super organized and prepared. This sounds like a slam dunk for you, and judges love when someone acts like they care about respecting the court's time. OP responds, definitely. I'm currently printing out every single bank statement, receipt, and the exact text thread, so it's a completely organized stack. Not trying to waste any time. User Swordfish past 8963 comments. You did good, but I'm really sorry that you're having to deal with all of this and navigate the legal system right after losing a friend. OP responds, thank you. It really is surreal. Trying to navigate the legal side while processing the betrayal is exhausting. But I have to protect myself. Appreciate it, bro. I hope he folds too, but if we go to court, I'm bringing every single receipt and charging for every hour of labor. User Fekdak! How his girlfriend is mad at you because you didn't let her boyfriend steal the money from you? Maybe the idea to sell the car was hers. If he needs to sell a car to afford vacations, maybe it's not a good idea of going. OP responds, honestly, wouldn't surprise me if she was whispering in his ear about it. The fact that she blocked me the second I threatened court speaks volumes. Expensive Fish 9277. Absolutely. She saw it as a double win of cutting boyfriend off from his friend and shared hobby that he wastes too much time with and getting a bunch of money to spend on herself. I wouldn't be surprised if she drops boyfriend when the consequences hit. OP responds, spot on. If he loses his vacation fund because of court, we'll see how long she actually sticks around. Comment from Hen Boward. Very eager to learn how much money you spent parts and labor on this project that your ex-friend is only offering you $500 for. OP responds, I'm still organizing the final stacks of receipts for Monday, but just the turbo setup and ECU alone ran into the thousands, plus hundreds of hours of heavy manual labor. $500 doesn't even cover a fraction of it. New update. Final update after 3 days, 2 days from the last post, June 18th, 2026. I honestly didn't expect my life to become a multi-part drama series on Reddit, but after the insane amount of support on my last 2 posts, I owe you guys the final conclusion. To recap, I texted my best friend using the advice here, trapped him into admitting our agreement on the project car build, and threatened him with small claims court and an itemized bill for my labor. Yesterday morning, the pressure finally broke him. I woke up to 5 missed calls from his dad. It turns out his dad saw the text thread on his phone, or my ex-friend cracked under pressure and confessed. I'm not entirely sure. His dad is a really hardworking, honest guy, and he was absolutely mortified by what his son tried to do to me. About an hour later, my ex-friend called me. He sounded completely defeated, no more arrogant flexing, no more legally it's my car attitude. He apologized, though it sounded like his parents forced him to do it. Because of the text trap, he knew he was completely cornered. Instead of trying to fight it or sticking to that insulting $500 offer, he agreed that a 50-50 split wasn't fair since I funded almost everything. We settled on an 80-20 split in my favor to cover the turbo setup, all my part receipts, and the manual labor hours I put in. We met up at a local bank a few hours ago. I watched the cashier verify the cash for my 80% share, deposited straight into my account, and walked out. His trip to Bali with Jess is still happening, but it's going to be a lot more budget-friendly now that he isn't funding it with my hard work and parts. As we left the bank, he tried to ask if we were good. I just looked at him and said, we're even on the car, but the friendship is done. Good luck in Bali. Then I walked away and blocked his number. I lost a brother, which hurts, but I kept my money, my dignity, and my peace of mind. I genuinely couldn't have done this without the absolute legends in the subreddit who gave me the legal strategy and the courage to stand up for myself. The money is safe in the bank, the toxic weight is out of my life, and this chapter is officially closed. Thank you all so much. Comments from OP. Looking back at everything, what's honestly so crazy to me is the contrast of human nature. While someone I called a brother for a decade was busy trying to screw me over, thousands of total strangers on the internet were stepping up to protect me for absolutely nothing in return. It's truly beautiful how people who don't even know my name are willing to give their time, legal advice, and genuine support just to help a stranger stand his ground. You guys showed me more loyalty in 24 hours than he did in 10 years. Thank you all. Seriously. User take a pinch when the spaces are zeros. You can keep his dad since his dad is a really good man, but not the son. Opie responds, laughing, crying emoji. Yeah, right. So, after reading this one, because I've been keeping an eye on it, I was pretty excited about it, but reading it in full, I don't think I've ever met a car guy who is capable of rebuilding an engine, doing a turbo system, rebuilding an entire car from the frame itself, not mention what kind of car it is, what kind of engine they're putting in there, the size of the turbos. There's just, I don't know. It doesn't read like someone who actually likes cars. Like, everything else checks out to me. You know, you have a girlfriend who's potentially the source of it, where she's wanting the car to be sold because it's a time sink and a money sink. Plus, it means that she gets a trip to Bali from him. They get to be happy together, and a disappointed father. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And also, of course, OP's ex-friend just outright being baited and admitting it. That's a pretty, honestly, realistic pitfall for an idiot to fall into. But I just find it odd that for someone who apparently put all his blood, sweat, and tears into this car, doesn't even say what kind of car it is. Find me a grease monkey with a project car who never tells you what kind of car it is, and I'll find you a pig that can ride a skateboard. It's not impossible, but just is really weird and unlikely, I guess. I am once again in the outro apologizing for the video being so late. Just had a lot of dumb, stressful stuff going on in personal life, and it's been kind of dragging me down a little bit, so that's been fun. But other than that, things are going pretty A-okay, making some good progress on, the office stuff, and yeah, you guys have really been just placing a shit ton of orders with Code Oz on GamerSupps. Like, see every order placed, and I guess ever since the cups arrived, y'all have just been going off. Good God. So that's been awesome. Don't forget, you guys can get free samples. Just use Code Oz at checkout. Get yourself a free sample, try what you would like, and then once you get those samples, if it's something you actually enjoy, then hey, use Code Oz at checkout and get yourself some tubs and some flavors and stuff. They got caffeine and caffeine-free and a bunch of other stuff too. Plus non-anime stuff, if that's not your cup of tea. But yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now. Take care, everyone.